The world of professional cycling is a finely tuned symphony of athleticism, strategy, and the pinnacle of endurance. Many times we do see great sportsmanship between athletes, yet every now and again, amid the wearing gears and relentless climbs, we witness those rare moments where the rulebook takes a backseat, tension escalates, and the unsporting side of the magnificent sport emerges from the shadows. In today's video, we're going to peel back the curtain to explore the instances that define the norm, where fair play takes a detour and the competitive spirit ventures into uncharted territory. Before we start the video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel here on The Cycling Dane. The first moment we're going to look at is the bizarre altercation that unfolded as Tony Martin attempted to force Rowe off the road, resulting to a series of clashes. The clash between Rowe and Martin unfolded as Team Ineos attempted to move their riders up in the peloton. Martin's blocking maneuver resulted in contact with Rowe, prompting corrective actions to avoid a potential severe crash. At the end, race leader Julian expressed his displeasure, emphasizing the tension in the peloton and the need for riders to exercise caution. While Ineos Grenadiers initially downplayed the incident, the race jury deemed it serious enough to warrant both riders' disqualification from the Tour de France. The incident serves as a stark reminder that the sport's commitment to fair competition and the consequences for those who breach its principles. This incident draws parallels with Team Ineos' previous expulsion of Gianni Moscon in 2019 at the Tour de France, where he attempted to strike a rival, reinforcing the sport's commitment to maintaining a fair play and preventing acts violence among riders. The UCI later confirmed the expulsion, accompanied by a 1,000 Swiss franc fine and a deduction of 50 UCI points. Next, we travel back further in time, and this was the headbutt incident between Julian and Mark Renshaw that unfolded during the tumultuous sprint finish on stage 11 in the 2010 Tour de France. As the peloton raced towards the finish line, Mark Cavendish's lead-out man, Mark Renshaw, engaged in a series of maneuvers to create space for his sprinter. In the final stretch, Renshaw, frustrated by Julian's positioning, delivered a sudden headbutt to the Kiwi rider in an attempt to assert his position in the sprint. The incident, caught on camera and witnessed by the cycling world, sparked immediate controversy and discussions about the boundaries and acceptable behavior in chaotic moments of a sprint finish. Both riders faced consequences for their actions, with Renshaw being disqualified from the race and Julian nursing the effects of the physical altercation. The headbutt incident between Julian and Renshaw demonstrated the intense competition and high stakes in the midst of a sprint finale, where split-second decisions can have lasting consequences on the race and reputations of those involved. Staying with the 2010 Tour de France, we had another incident, and this one not in the sprints but going uphill, from the intense rivalry between Andy Schleck and Alberto Contador, and the one particular controversial moment known as Chaingate. As the race approached the decisive stages, the tension between the two riders reached its peak on the Col de Ballet. In the bid to extend his overall lead, Andy Schleck launched a powerful attack that seemed destined to create a substantial gap between him and Alberto Contador. However, just as Schleck's monument was building, disaster struck as his chain derailed. The mechanical mishap left Schleck momentarily stranded on the mountain, a vulnerable position that jeopardized his chances of keeping the yellow jersey. In the heat of the competition, the unwritten rule of not attacking the yellow jersey when crashing or mechanical, Contador faced a crucial decision. He had to navigate the fine line between seizing a tactical advantage and respecting the spirit of fair play. In a move that would later fuel heated debates, Contador decided to press on, capitalizing on Schleck's misfortune and surging ahead. The controversial decision immediately became the focal point of discussion within the cycling world and beyond. Contador, defending his action, claimed that he was unaware of Schleck's mechanical issue at the time of his attack. Regardless of his intentions, Chaingate sparked a broader conversation about ethics of racing and the grey areas within the unwritten rules. The impact of such an incident have a perception of sportsmanship within the whole cycling world. The controversy surrounding Chaingate extended extended far beyond the 2010 Tour de France, leaving an indelible mark on the careers of both Schleck and Contador. The incident remains a defining moment in the history of the sport, serving as a reminder of the complex dynamics between competition, strategy, and sportsmanship. And on top of that, we all know that despite Andy Schleck losing it at the time of the 2010 Tour de France, he was actually retrospectively awarded it because of other things. Let's say that. Before we get into the top two, let's just go through some honorable mentions. Of course, we have Gianni Moscon. We've already mentioned him. This wasn't the physical altercation. This was him at Omni's Newsblad in 2020, throwing a competitor's bike, a certain no-no in the cycling world. We also have Nassar Bouhanni, another bad boy of cycling, who almost caused a crash between himself and Michael Matthews in Paris-Nice. And then we have Filip Majchuk, who looked to gain a cyclocross style advantage in the Tour of Flanders in 2023, but came undone, and this meant that plenty of riders in the peloton crashed on his behalf. Not a very sporting gesture. And then lastly, we also have Tom Dumoulin in the 2017 Giro d'Italia, where he had the lead, and unfortunately nature called, and in this moment it looked like his rival seized the opportunity on this very poor mishap, which was a bit of an unsporting gesture. Next we come to the 2017 edition of the Rotland Classic, and here in the final few throws of the race, the 34-year-old Dan Fleeman, a former Cervelo rider, had surprisingly made the decisive move in the race, bridging the gap to join Hayden McCormick, a rider from One Pro Cycling, at the front of the race. Fleeman then sealed the win in a thrilling sprint. However, the climax of the race unfolded amidst controversy when the Kiwi rider McCormick expressed his frustration at losing the sprint to Fleeman, and in a bold gesture captured by cameras and witnessed by hundreds of fans, McCormick delivered a one-finger salute to the Brit. Reflecting on the incident, Fleeman shared that with a few kilometers remaining, he had asked, "Are you going to sprint?" However, I misinterpreted it as, "Can you sprint?" And I responded negatively since I believed I couldn't. Yet with 300 meters to go, I made a sudden sprint, and I'm not sure what he expected. Considering it's the most significant one-day race in the country, naturally I'm going to sprint. Aftermath of this unexpected victory has added an extra layer of intrigue to the cycling world, to the race, to the win, prompting discussion once again about unsportsmanship and the unpredictable nature of the sport. Now we're coming into our last point, and this was the 1977 Tour of Flanders, which was marred by unsporting conduct and strategic alliance. Eddy Merckx had attacked early to set up a gripping competition, but Freddie Martins faced disqualification early on for a bike change on the Koppenberg. Despite being disqualified, Freddie Martins continued to ride with Roger de Vlaming, a rival from a different team, creating an uneasy alliance. As the race progressed, Merckx's faltering performance marked the end of his career, shifting the spotlight to de Vlaming and Martins. A leading position turned controversial when de Vlaming refused to collaborate, leading to on-course arguments captured by camera. Martins strategically sheltered de Vlaming, and in the final sprint, de Vlaming easily defeated Martins, prompting disapproval during the podium ceremony. Conflicting statements emerged, with Martins claiming warnings of disqualification, and there was also the allegations that financial favors had been swapped between the pair to make sure that Freddie Martins would work for de Vlaming. De Vlaming denied offering money, citing strategic decisions based on Martins' sprinting abilities. Who knows what really went on between the pair, but it was certainly a very strange sight seeing a disqualified rider working for a rival star. The controversy, however, deepened when news broke of positive amphetamine tests for Martins and third-place rider Walter Plancard. Their subsequent disqualification added another layer to the unsporting nature of the race, leading organizers to keep the second and third places on the history books blank. The 1977 Tour of Flanders remains a contentious episode showcasing how unsportsmanlike conduct, strategic alliances, and unforeseen events can overshadow the essence of fair play and the race itself in the sport of cycling. That's basically it for this video. Just a few unsporting moments in the sport we love. Of course, make sure to hit the like button, comment down below if you have any ones that I've missed out. Of course, there are many. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel here on the Cycling Den. And of course, as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you again. And I will see you in the next one.